My name is Brinna Crawford. I'm 28. I had a stroke at 24 years old. The morning I woke up from my stroke, I was very confused. The morning of my stroke, when I woke up, I woke up on my couch not knowing why I was there, and I had a very, very, very strange headache and never stopped to think that anything was wrong. I kept trying to get dressed, but I kept falling over, and I knew I had to get to work because it was the first day of my last semester of college. And then when I got into my car to go to work, I almost ripped the car door off my car, and I drove 30 minutes to the other side of town, and the lady I was taking care of had told me that I was having a stroke, and I called my sister. She came to get me and had me look into a mirror and said, "Are you doing this with your face?" And I was unable to recognize what she was trying to have me see. I didn't see anything wrong with my face. So once my sister finally convinced me that I had to go to the hospital, and then I started having focal seizures just in the left side of my face. So we got to the hospital, and the next thing I know, I was in the emergency room. I was getting needles poked everywhere. I was being run for tests and one thing after another. And then after them, my vitals ended up being extremely low. They then put me in the ICU. But the whole time, I thought I was fine. I thought I just had a really bad headache, which wasn't really anything abnormal for me. It wasn't until when the doctor came to talk to me in the ICU, she had told me that you have had a stroke, and I said I thought only older people had strokes, and she then told me that I was very lucky to be alive. The type of stroke that they told me I had was it was an MCA, which is a middle cerebral artery, it was right here, and it was very, very large. After being in the ICU for 2 days, they then transferred me to inpatient stroke unit, which I was there for 7 days, and that's when they started doing like swallow evaluations and then recognizing what I had lost. I was unable to move my left arm, my left leg. I did not walk. After being there for 7 days, I was making really good progress, so they moved me to the inpatient rehab, and I was there for 3 weeks, and I did physical therapy, speech therapy, occupational therapy, and recreational therapy. They found a hole in my heart, which led to the clot passing to. So then I had a better understanding of how it had happened. Then they explained to me that I couldn't walk. The whole time I thought that I was fine. I didn't know that I couldn't walk because they had pushed me around on beds the whole time. And then they gave me a ball to squeeze, and I realized that I could not squeeze this little ball. The rehab that I did while I was in the stroke unit is they had me try to walk, which was not very successful. It was very unsteady, very wobbly. Basically how a baby looks when they first start to walk, very wobbly, uneven. And I didn't use my left arm. I kind of just kept it tucked in next to my stomach because it didn't have much movement. There wasn't any feeling. Yes, from the stroke unit, I then went to inpatient rehab, and there is when I started more intense physical therapy where they had me walking with a walker, and after the walker then used a gait belt no matter where I went. I did swallow evals to get the swallowing working again. I couldn't feel anything on the left side of my throat, so I was choking lots and not swallowing anything, and food was getting stuck, and I was aspirating and choking. And after that, they put me on a pureed diet, so I was eating baby food. which was kind of a pride to my shot when I was 24. My confidence during the whole thing was kind of overshadowed by my pride because I was not understanding why this had happened, and I knew I was going to get better, but I didn't know how I was going to get there. Eating baby food was a real shot to my pride when I was 24. After being in inpatient rehab for about 3.5 weeks, I was able to go home because I was able to walk. It wasn't the best walk, but I was able to do it. I was able to bathe myself, which was nice. I didn't have to have somebody shower me. I was eating better. They told me I could go home. That's the point when I was very scared because I thought, what am I supposed to do now? I wasn't working. I wasn't in school. I didn't, just everything had changed. So after going home, and then I started 5 weeks of outpatient rehab at a traumatic brain injury center. While there, I did Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, intense physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and recreational therapy. After finishing outpatient rehab, I had to continue working on the stretches with my face so that I had the movement with my face. I also had to continue doing memory exercises as my short-term memory wasn't the best. After finishing outpatient rehab, I was able to start working. I got my driver's license again. I went back to school, finished. I then moved to a different town just to start all over, to leave all of that behind me. And then I met my husband.
Next in your life.
After finishing outpatient rehab, I was able to start working again with lots of restrictions. I then got my driver's license back. I started school. After graduating school, I then moved away just to start fresh and try and put all of that behind me. Well, after I moved to a new town, I met this guy and later got married to him.
Congratulations.
After meeting new people after the stroke, I was very cautious of who I told as to, how are people going to look at me? Are they going to think something's wrong with me? Are they going to notice? I didn't want anyone to treat me any differently because of what I'd gone through.
That was fantastic.
I would like to say thank you to the people who support the American Stroke Association, because without their research, I probably would not have been able to recover as good as I did.
Okay.
I would like to say thank you to the people who support the American Stroke Association, because without their extensive research, I would not have had the recovery that I did. One of the more difficult things when I had my stroke during my recovery is I had no one to talk to that could relate to anything I was going through. There was other people, but they were a lot older than me, and their situation didn't compare. So once I recovered, I made it a priority to help other young females that were going through strokes, the same thing that I went through.